Welcome to York Region's online open house number 2 for the Municipal Class Environmental Assessment Study of Water and Wastewater Servicing in the Nobleton community. You can download the slides for this open house, stay informed about the project, and sign up for updates by visiting the project website at york.ca/NobletonEA. We would like to start by acknowledging that we are on the traditional territories of the Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe peoples, whose presence here continues to this day. We would also like to acknowledge that this is the treaty lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit, and thank them and other Indigenous peoples for sharing this land with us. We acknowledge this land and the people as a first step towards reconciliation. A shared understanding of how our collective past has brought us to where we are today will help us walk together into a better future. The purpose of this class environmental assessment is to identify long-term water and wastewater servicing solutions for the community of Nobleton. These solutions will support growth to the year 2041 and focus on optimizing the use of existing regional infrastructure. This open house will present the alternatives considered, share our evaluation of these alternatives, present the recommended solutions, and obtain your input. Your input is important to us, and we want to hear from you. This study is following the process for Municipal Class Environmental Assessment Studies, or EA for short. An environmental assessment study is a planning process for municipal infrastructure to assess the environmental impacts of proposed initiatives before they are carried out. We are in phase 2 of the project, identify and evaluate alternative solutions to the problem. Work completed to date has incorporated input received during Public Open House number 1 in February 2019. Stay informed throughout the study process by visiting York Region's environmental assessment website at york.ca/NobletonEA. This open house will be followed by phase 3 of the class environmental assessment process, where alternative designs for the recommended solution are identified and evaluated. This will be followed by a third and final open house in summer 2021. In phase 1 of this environmental assessment study, Nobleton's water system storage and supply needs were assessed. The results demonstrated that to meet the forecasted growth, there is a need for a minor increase in storage capacity and a significant increase in water supply. Similarly, Nobleton's wastewater system needs were assessed, and it was identified the daily and peak wastewater system capacity both need to be increased. This class environmental assessment considers input from various existing plans. This includes all existing and proposed regulations and policies laid out in the documents shown, such as the York Region Water and Wastewater Master Plan, the Greenbelt Plan, and King Township's official plan. To inform the evaluation of alternatives, several technical studies were undertaken to better understand the existing natural, social, and built environments within the study area. These studies indicated how the natural environment, groundwater conditions, cultural heritage resources, potential archaeological resources, and soil conditions may impact or be impacted by the various alternatives being considered. The evaluation process for water and wastewater servicing alternatives started with the development of a long list of alternatives. Alternatives were screened based on whether they would be capable of providing enough supply, storage capacity, or wastewater capacity to meet the forecasted growth, and whether they would comply with all existing and/or proposed regulations, plans, and policies. Alternatives which passed the screening were included in a short list of feasible alternatives. Following a detailed evaluation, recommended solutions were identified for water supply, water storage, and wastewater servicing. To address the previously identified water supply need, a long list of water supply alternatives was developed. Alternatives were screened based on whether they would be capable of providing enough supply to meet the forecasted growth, and whether they comply with all existing and/or proposed regulations, plans, and policies. 3 solutions passed screening and were included in the short list of feasible supply alternatives. Do Nothing did not pass the screening because it cannot provide enough supply to meet forecasted growth. It is carried forward for comparative purposes only. Water conservation did not pass the screening because it cannot provide enough supply on its own. However, it is recommended conservation be carried forward as an ongoing program in York Region to help reduce water supply needs. Developing a blended system was carried forward conditionally since the province's long-term plan, A Place to Grow growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, only allows the addition of a lake-based supply connection if well supply cannot meet the necessary quality or quantity requirements. Three alternatives passed the screening process and were included in the shortlist. The shortlisted water supply alternatives are Supply Alternative A, increase the capacity of an existing well, number 2, and add a new production well. Supply Alternative B, increase capacity with 2 new wells. And Supply Alternative C, develop a blended system with the addition of a lake-based water supply connection to the existing groundwater supply. As part of the development of water supply alternatives, it was critical to establish potential sites for new wells. 8 potential sites were narrowed down to 2 preferred sites, referred to as Site H and Site F. Well sites were narrowed down to those that would provide the best potential groundwater supply, make the most sense logically, be simplest to implement, and best meet all of the applicable policies and regulations. These 2 potential well sites are considered under Supply Alternatives A and B. This led to the following water supply sub-alternatives. Alternative A1 considers this new well site at Site F, whilst Alternative A2 considers this new well site at Site H. Alternative B considers 2 new wells, one at Site F and one at Site H, and Alternative C involves the addition of a lake-based supply, but does not involve any new wells. To address the previously identified storage need, a long list of water storage alternatives was also developed. 2 solutions passed screening and were included in the short list of feasible storage alternatives. Do Nothing did not pass the screening because it cannot provide enough storage capacity to meet forecasted growth. It is carried forward for comparative purposes only. Water conservation did not pass the screening because it cannot provide enough storage capacity on its own. However, it is recommended conservation be carried forward as part of the overall servicing strategy in York Region. The shortlisted water storage alternatives are Storage Alternative A, add a new storage facility, replacing existing Nobleton South elevated tank storage facility with a bigger storage facility, and Storage Alternative B, increase overall well supply to avoid needing new storage. To address previously identified wastewater servicing needs, a long list of wastewater servicing alternatives was developed. 2 solutions passed screening and were included in the short list of feasible wastewater alternatives. Do Nothing did not pass the screening because it cannot provide enough wastewater capacity to meet the forecasted growth. It is carried forward for comparative purposes only. Reduce inflow and infiltration did not pass the screening because it cannot provide enough wastewater capacity on its own. However, it is recommended this alternative be carried forward as part of the overall servicing strategy in York Region to help reduce future infrastructure requirements. Two alternatives passed the screening process and were included in the shortlist. The shortlisted wastewater servicing alternatives are Wastewater Servicing Alternative A. Expand and upgrade the existing Janet Avenue Pumping Station, Force Main, and Nobleton Water Resource Recovery Facility, WRRF, and outfall. And Wastewater Servicing Alternative B. Construct a new pumping station, Force Main, and new water resource recovery facility, and outfall. When evaluating each alternative, a broad range of criteria was considered. Each criteria falls under one of the 5 evaluation categories, as presented at Open House number 1. The 5 evaluation categories include environmental, social and cultural, jurisdictional regulatory, technical, and economic. As shown in the table, all of the shortlisted water supply alternatives were scored under the 5 evaluation categories. Of the 4 alternatives evaluated, water supply alternative A2, increased capacity of existing well number 2 in combination with new production well at site H, ranked first overall. The do nothing alternative did not pass screening and is shown here for comparative purposes only. A summary of the detailed evaluation under each of the 5 evaluation categories is given here. This includes further details and information on each shortlisted water supply alternative. The information included was used to score each alternative and determine the overall ranking of alternatives. The rationale behind scoring and ranking is provided here for reference. All open house materials, including this presentation, can be accessed at york.ca/NobletonEA. This link will be provided again at the end of this presentation. Alternative A2, increased capacity of existing well number 2, in combination with new production well at site H, ranked highest overall, ranking highest in 4 of the 5 evaluation categories. The primary reason that alternative A2 ranked the highest is that the work associated with upgrades would be confined to existing sites. This minimizes construction impact, additional operations and maintenance resources needed, and the need to purchase additional land, reduces costs, and reduces impact on the natural, cultural, and social environment. As shown in the table, all of the shortlisted water storage alternatives were scored under the 5 evaluation categories. Of the 2 water storage alternatives evaluated, water storage alternative B, increase overall well supply to avoid new storage, ranked highest. The do nothing alternative did not pass screening and is shown here for comparative purposes only. A summary of the detailed evaluation under each of the 5 evaluation categories is given here. This includes further details and information on each shortlisted water storage alternative. The information included was used to score each alternative and determine the overall ranking of alternatives. The rationale behind scoring and ranking is provided here for reference. Water storage alternative B, increase overall well supply to avoid new storage, ranked highest overall, ranking first in 3 of the 5 evaluation categories and ranking equally to water storage alternative A, new storage facility, replace existing Nobleton South elevated tank storage facility with bigger storage facility in the 2 other categories. Alternative B ranked highest because it maximizes the use of existing infrastructure, minimizes construction, and is the lower cost alternative overall. The recommended water servicing solution involves increasing capacity at existing well number 2 and adding a new well at site H. The capacity of these well facilities is further increased in order to avoid the need for new storage. As shown in the table, all of the shortlisted wastewater alternatives were scored under the 5 evaluation categories. Of the 2 wastewater alternatives evaluated, wastewater servicing alternative A, expand and upgrade the existing Janet Avenue pumping station, force main, and Nobleton Water Resource Recovery Facility and outfall, ranked first overall. The do nothing alternative did not pass screening and is shown here only for comparative purposes. A summary of the detailed evaluation under each of the 5 evaluation categories is given here. This includes further details and information on each shortlisted wastewater alternative. The information included was used to score each alternative and determine the overall ranking of alternatives. The rationale behind scoring and ranking is provided here for reference. Wastewater Servicing Alternative A, expand and upgrade the existing Janet Avenue pumping station, force main, and Nobleton Water Resource Recovery Facility and outfall, ranked highest overall, ranking first in 5 of the 5 evaluation categories. By limiting expansion to the existing facilities, Wastewater Servicing Alternative A minimizes impacts to the natural environment, to the community, and potential archaeological and cultural heritage sites, while maximizing the capacity of existing infrastructure. Alternative A is also the lowest cost alternative overall. The recommended wastewater servicing solution involves expanding and upgrading the existing Nobleton Water Resource Recovery Facility and outfall, expanding and upgrading the existing Janet Avenue pumping station, and twinning or replacing the force main that connects these facilities. We want to hear from you. To provide your feedback, please complete the survey online by Friday, December 11th, 2020. The survey can be accessed at york.ca/NobletonEA. You can also stay informed about the project or sign up for updates by visiting the project webpage at york.ca/NobletonEA. If you are unable to access the online survey, or if you have any other questions or comments, please let us know by contacting the region's project manager.